Bye back.
I think we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg.
Welcome. It's lovely to start the story. I'm Kelly. I'm the storyteller. Let's begin. Dear B, I've been thinking a great deal about the incredibly awesome present that you, N, S, G, Lob, etc., 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 bought me for my birthday. I know that a blithering drunken idiot, I profess my gratitude and thanks, but I hope you realise that I sincerely appreciate your wonderful, personal, thoughtful present. However, have you noticed that there is always a however or a but when people are expressing their thanks or when they are saying how good something is? ? I have been thinking about all the inevitable questions and explanations that we will all have to answer, and as you know, it is not a short story, ! I thought that maybe I had a solution to this. Find the story of how Evie was created. We weren't born, we were created, and how she met the other 10 Eves, and photocopy it 1 million times. Then I thought, well, it's a good story, but it assumes you know the story behind the story. You know, the Kelly watches the X-Files and gets in a bad mood story. So anyway, I thought I should write a prologue to the Evie stories, which explains and clarifies how Kelly became Evie 11 and why the number plate is some awesome and significance. So anyway, here's the story to add to your collection, and some copies to give to nosy little effers who ask. You know, I reckon the Evie thing is kind of like a surfing thing. Those who know can't explain. Those who don't will never understand. Kelly and Evie. So L is Lob equals C, because that was already a nickname. But everyone else is in code, because until they agree to be part of the story, their character, weaving with my character. Until that day, this is my story. I'm the storyteller, and I am all the characters. Well, JFK, as we, all the Kellys and all the Evies, remember him, them, etc., etc., etc. K out. Question for the taxpayer-funded corporations. What is this? What is this? Is this a weapon? Taxpayer-funded corporations. Is this a weapon? Welcome, this is Kelly the Storyteller, reading the prologue to Evie. Hasn't been redacted, so I'm going to have to read as I go, but as we all know, the truth is out there. So let's read this story. Prologue to Evie 1-1. Once upon a time there was a nice girl called Kelly. She was an innocent young thing who had a penchant for watching the X-Files. One day the X-Files was about some genetically engineered clones who possessed telepathic powers, had psychopathic tendencies, who were extremely intelligent and extremely evil, and who lacked a conscience. These clones had been developed by the military during the war and were going to be used as defense weapons. The boys were called Adams and the girls were called Eves. As they were all identical, they were given numbers to distinguish one from the other. Following the war, the Eves went their separate ways. However, they were always in touch telepathically. Eve 6, a medical doctor, implanted 2 clone cells into women who were trying to conceive using IVF methods. These 2 little terrors became Eve 9 and Eve 10. During the course of the television program, the fact that these clones were missing a vital chromosome was revealed. The chromosome that was missing was the genetic failing that allowed them to behave in such an evil and uncaring manner. The Eves exhibited their psychopathic behaviours to try to hurt, maim, and kill anyone and everyone who got in their way. This included Fox and Scully, Mulder and Scully, Fox and Scully, and sometimes those who didn't, just for the pure fun of it. At the end of the program, Fox and Scully prevailed, and all the surviving Eves were locked up in an institution, and the doors to their cells were marked Eve 6, Eve 9, Eve 10, and so on. Anyway, to tie this into how Kelly became known as EV11 and why she was given EV11 number plate for her 23rd birthday will now be revealed. 2 days after the program detailed above, Kelly was having an extraordinarily bad day. As she raged about one thing and another, she said, "If I was one of those Eves off the X-Files, I would go and be a psycho and kill those SHIT heads and make their deaths incredibly painful and evil and awful, and I wouldn't care less. I would exhibit no remorse or conscience. FUCK, I wish I was an Eve." Kelly's fantastic friend B then said, "Yeah, you could be Eve 11. Anyway, this little nickname soon took effect, and Kelly was known affectionately as Eve, to B, and a few other close friends. Shortly after this, possibly a period of a month or so, Kelly once again was having a bad day, and she said what she would like to do to someone and how graphically she would like them to suffer. B, the cool one mentioned above, started chanting, "Evie, Evie," in a really spooky X-File-ish sort of voice. So Eve 11 became Evie. Between that time and now, there have been Evie stories and pack and save name badges and awesome trips to Napier and Onga Onga and awesome silver identification rings and incredible mind-altering experiences that belong to Evie. She has become a personality and a person in her own right, who a few special, privileged, awesome people have been fortunate, question mark in the brackets, enough to know, enough to meet with the question marks. Although she was Kelly, and in Kelly and B's creation, a little joke of what Kelly would love to be if she didn't have a conscience, it has been wondered who was in charge of the shell that Kelly and Evie share. But more importantly, are you brave enough to answer the question on Evie and Kelly's mind / bracket S close bracket full stop? If you had to choose just one of them, like this town ain't big enough for the both of us, which one would you choose? As we know, the truth is out there. that's the start of my story. The story, my story, a story, the story. K out. I never understood how man could dare to watch a city shaken to the ground, to feel the tremors, hear the tragic sound of houses twisting, crashing everywhere, and not be conquered by a sick despair. Although his buildings crumble to a mound of worthless ruins, man has always found the urge to build a stronger city there. Within my soul I made my towers high. They lie in ruins, yet I have begun to build again, now planning to restore what life has shaken to the earth. And I in faith shall build my towers towards the sun, a stronger city than was there before. Question: what is this? Question: DSM-5. Question: taxpayer funded corporations. Is this a weapon?